Welcome to 2019. This is Coach Dave at the Turn Academy. Before we take a lot of time to analyze this swing, let's just take a look at it in slow motion. Do it at 8th speed, see what's going on here. Setup looks pretty good. Hands aren't exactly parallel. Feet are a little narrow, and notice that the left foot is quite a ways back from the right foot. Now he's tipping over a little bit here. Good lag, and then a scoop shot. So we're looking at three issues here. Let's start with the first. At setup, I'd like to see the golfer have the hands, if we blow them up a little bit here, you see they can't be parallel to each other. The thumb of the what we'll call the trail hand slopes off at that direction, and the thumb of the lead hand goes straight up. Therefore, the palms can't be parallel. What we like to do is find a way that the palms are parallel and the thumbs are on the same line. Let's bring this back down to a similar thing. What this is going to create for him is the tendency to scoop the ball off the ground rather than hit down on the ball. The right hand will be under the club like it is now at impact. What I'd like him to do is turn the right hand a little bit more over the top. The left hand's in a pretty good position. Let's take the club back part way. See what he does? He gets very handsy early on the takeaway. The takeaway should be a movement of the triangle created by the shoulders and the arms. And you'll watch how far he takes the club back before anything really moves. See, the club is already back that far, and the hands and arms really haven't moved at all. The shoulders haven't moved. Now we get a little arm movement, a little more arm movement, but he's not moving around behind the ball. As a matter of fact, what he's done now is created a setup, a position where his weight is transferred to the wrong side. Instead of getting behind the ball, he's staying over the top of the ball. What we'd like to see is a golfer get himself onto the power line, which is about this line right here. So when he turns his spine, now remember, he's bent forward. So his spine is at a forward tilt. So if he turns back, the spine should be on the red line. Notice the spine now is straight up and down. That isn't where he was at setup. So he's got to get behind the ball. Now he does a great job of creating lag here. We like that a lot. Then what happens is he comes down to the ball, he's pivoting in place, nothing's moving really far forward, and then take a look at that right there. Look at those hands. Look how far underneath that hand is. We would like to see the right wrist bent back here so that the back of the right hand, or left hand, I'm sorry, is pointing at the ground. He's done just the opposite. It's a big power waster. He's not able to trap the ball and create good, solid contact. Before we analyze this swing, let's take a look at it in slow motion. And let's see what happens. We'll go 8th speed here. Play it. I think what you noticed here, at least I did, was a fairly stiff swing, not very relaxed or comfortable, and a lot of up and down movement of the body. Let's take a look at a couple of things here. Let's draw a line in from her hip. Oops, that's not a line, that's a circle. Let's try it again with a line. We'll go right up the seam of her shirt. You can see that it comes up behind the head. I'd like to see that a little straighter, but we can live with that. I mean, we're not young anymore. We're not 12 or 14. Now let's watch the takeaway. She takes the club back. She does really good to hit to there. She got the club outside the hands. That looks really good. Then the right elbow, see how the right elbow's coming out and up and above? In order for her to be in a good position, that right elbow has to fold down. It should be down on this line right there. It should be down so it bisects that line. She keeps getting higher and higher and higher with that elbow, which then puts her way out of position. Now notice how much she's lifted up. Remember where the head was? Then it's way up here. Now she's got to go dive back down. There's also no hinge here. We don't have any hinging in the wrists at all to let the club relax. That's because she's very, very tight. And this position right here is causing that problem. So let's clear all that out of the way. And let's go back down to the setup position. And notice that from there, if she can just simply keep the right elbow down to the ground, turn back so that she ends up in a waiter position. Now the waiter position is one where the left elbow is down and the right elbow is down, the right palm is up so she can carry a tray. Notice that the club here is very, very shut. There's no action going on there at all. She's very stiff and very tight. Plus the fact that she's raised up so much, right there, is creating all the problem. So what she does now, she comes back down, she's going to have a hard time finding the golf ball. And because she's up, let's blow this up a little bit, you'll see that the club is going to make contact. Yeah, the ball's right there. You probably can't see it here very well. Let's back it up just a little bit. Watch this come down. Watch the heel of the club. There's the heel of the club. We call those hosel honkers. Boom, hits the ball, doesn't go anywhere. But she's got to stay level so she can stay on the same plane. Once again, we'll play the swing at slow motion before we dissect it. 8th speed. Now, obviously she hits the ball pretty good. You can still see it out there. Right dead center, right in the middle of the circle. So she did pretty good, result-wise, but the inconsistency comes from the amount of movement that she's going to make in executing the swing. So let's go back to the setup position. We'll draw a red line in for the club shaft. Then we'll draw a white line in for the shoulder tilt. Now notice, she's at a nice 90-degree angle. Now we're going to draw in, let's use green to do the legs. There's down to the knees and down to the ground. Got a nice, everything looks pretty good there, doesn't it? Now let's move the club back slowly. Takes it back low and slow, a little bit under the line. I'd like to see a little bit more above the line on the way back. See how far back behind her she is? The club now is pointing way off to the right. I'd like to see it pointing down the target line. Now she gets back on, but here, right here, watch this. The head goes up. Now imagine the head moves up 3 or 4 inches. The club's got to move up too. Now it's really difficult to get right back down to where the club and the ball are at the same level. Now she's got her arms in good place. She's maybe overbent the lead arm a little bit. You can see, we'll draw yellow and yellow. You see she's overbent that a little bit, but that's okay. As we get older, that's harder to do. I like the position of the right arm. Now she comes over the top. See, the first move is instead of dropping the club back down so that it goes back down and under the line to the ball and through, she's going to come over the top of that line and come in, and let's clear everything out of the way so we can see where she's going to make impact. Again, you can't see the ball. Let's back it up a little bit. See how high the club is and where it is in relationship to the ball. Let's go back just a little bit. Back up. I'm going to draw a line straight up from the golf ball. What we're going to see is, see how the ball is going to be way in on the heel and very low. That's because right at this point, right about here, instead of getting that left arm long and extended. I should see that left arm way longer than it is here. She's pulling it in. Now you can see it's pulling in behind her. That left arm should still be in front of her, and she should swing through it. Look how far behind her that left arm is. It needs to stay in front of you. All right, here, let's watch Al a little bit in slow motion. At the setup, we can see a couple of things that are incongruous. You can see that the feet, if I draw a line on the toe line, the feet are going out that way, but nowhere are the shoulders of the knee. I can't even see the lead knee. I can't see the lead shoulder. So he's setting up with his feet on one angle and his hips, knees, and shoulders on another angle. So let's go ahead and play this real slow. See at what point do we get to see the lead knee. Up, right there. That's where he should be at setup. How far the knee had to move in order for him to get so the knees and the feet were parallel. Continues on back. Got a nice plane. Little hinge. Brings the club back down and right on through the finish. What he's got here is some pretty extraordinary hand-eye coordination in what I would call a beautiful rhythm. The problem is he's not able to get the distance he wants because he's not able to rotate enough to generate enough speed with the golf club to get the power that he wants. So let's go ahead and use yellow. We'll use the yellow line to draw in his swing plane. And you'll see that he stays on the swing plane pretty good. See that? Right up the swing plane, a little bit above it. A little bit above it right there, but then he gets pretty parallel to it right there. His hands pulled up a little bit. You see his head is moved up a little bit, and it makes nice contact, but there's no movement towards the target with his body. He's pretty stiff and what would be the word? He's restricted. He hasn't moved. He hasn't rotated himself around. So he's lacking distance. The nice thing about that swing is it's a very straight swing. So what he can choose to do is play more of a single plane style swing where he stays on the plane, gets his hands up, so maybe that his hands and his club are more on that line, and then he can stay more solid. Also, he'll get his hands further away from his body so they can swing easier and develop a little more power. I'll tell you one thing though, as a scrambles partner, I'd want him hitting the ball down the middle every time. I'll develop the power. He's got a good swing, got great rhythm, great tempo. As long as he's happy not being the long ball knocker, he's still going to be the guy closest to the pin on the approach shots.